Hi everyone, it's Pete here. So I've recently got myself this GoPro Hero 8 and that was to replace this Hero 5 that I've had for a couple of years, and this was to replace the Hero 3 which I'm videoing this bit on. So the main reason for buying this one was the new Hypersmooth, which is the image stabilisation, and mostly it's excellent, but I have got a bit of an issue with one of the types of shots that I do, so I'll just show you. So if I want to get a tracking shot of the car going along but without me running, then I stand still like this, spinning round, looking like a bit of a pillock, and I've got the camera on the end of a selfie stick sort of pointing down towards the car. So it comes out like this. Normally edit out things like my shadow and Rick's feet, but yeah, anyway, so you get that, it looks alright. And this is the same sort of shot from higher up, which is just to sort of simulate the kind of angle you get if you attach the camera onto the bottom of your transmitter. And that looks like this, and so everything looks okay. This is my friend Barry's Beetle that I was videoing for him. Okay, so I'm doing the same shot with this, but on the Hero 8 with Hypersmooth boost. And look at the angle of the car and the background, and this is with the camera still parallel to the ground like the previous one. And I was thinking maybe I'd got the camera at the wrong angle, but I've done some experimenting since, and it's all to do with the stabilisation. Okay, so to demonstrate what's going on here, I've made this sort of Heath Robinson bracket on the end of the selfie stick so I can have both cameras the same. They are actually level. I think the wide angle's making it look like they're different, but these are level and they're sort of pointing the same way. So as you look at the footage, the Hero 8 is on the right and the 5 on the left. What I've done, so you can see what's going on, I've stuck these bits of tube across the lenses horizontally. It's got a dot in the middle there for reference. So I took the cameras out on a soggy afternoon in the garden. Sort of bear in mind then that the tubes are stuck to the front of the camera, and the movement is what the camera is doing to the image. And also bear in mind that the bottom edge of the camera is always sort of parallel to the ground, although like this it's more tipped forwards towards the ground. So yeah, you can see what the 8 is doing to the image, and it seems to be worse when you're accelerating and decelerating, although I can't exactly work out what makes it do it the worst, but yeah, you can see how it's sort of behaving there. Okay, so you can see how it sort of takes the wobble out of the shot, and that's what it's designed to do, which is good. But I say it's just when you angle it down like that and you don't want it to do the angle. So this is with it on high, so the other Hypersmooth settings seem to do the same but to a sort of lesser degree. Say on high here you can still see it tips. I still can't work out, well it's a Bailey cat, so I still can't work out what makes it do it the worst, because it's done it badly there, but I don't know. So basically you just got to be aware with these Hypersmooths. So this is on Hypersmooth on, so say it does it a little bit less in this mode, so it still seems to be able to cope with me wobbling the camera like that, and it doesn't go to quite such an angle as you're sort of panning around like this. So if I do this sort of shot with the card, I guess Hypersmooth on is the thing to use, or just switch it off and try and rely on my steady hand. Anyway, you can see what the camera does in the different modes. So I'll go back to some of the footage I've been taking of the cars. Okay, just to demonstrate a bit further, I've got the lunchbox here with stabilisation off on both cameras. Looks roughly the same with the angle of the car in the shot. Now look at the difference when I put Hypersmooth boost on the Hero 8 on the right there. So it's a real issue for this type of shot. Like I was saying before, probably the thing is just to do it with stabilisation off, but what would be nice is if they did a stabilisation mode more like the old camera, which didn't change the orientation of the shot like this. It's a bit more testing with the armour granite, so what I'm trying to do with these is keep the camera quite low, so it's not pointed down at the ground so much, and seems to suffer with the problem with the angle a bit less like this. And I tried it with just Hypersmooth on, which isn't too bad. And this is just using my own steady-ish hand. Okay, so moving on, we're going to see where the Hero 8 is pretty amazing actually. So I've got both cameras attached to the front of my Traxxas Slash here, and stabilisation on the 5 and Hypersmooth boost on the 8. And you can see immediately why I don't tend to do a lot of onboard shots, or I haven't done on the old camera, because you know they're pretty much unwatchable, aren't they? But on the 8, what a fantastic job it's doing. This is a lumpy field, and yeah, it's keeping it perfectly smooth. Really good. So with these, I think the pictures say more than I can about it. It's just very, very impressive. And a bit later I've got some shots where I compare the different levels of Hypersmooth. Okay, so we've got the Tamiya dump truck, and this is the shot where I'm running behind the car with the camera on the end of the selfie stick. Do you see Hypersmooth boost? Pretty impressive. So on Hypersmooth high, yeah, also perfectly fine. With just Hypersmooth on, still perfectly decent and watchable. Now, people sometimes ask me in the comments why I put music over the top and I don't just have the sound of the RCs, and the answer is because a lot of the time all you can hear is the rattle of the selfie stick. So you can see with Hypersmooth off it does become a bit less watchable. It's very difficult to keep it smooth while you're running along. Okay, got some onboard shots with the Tamiya heavy dump truck here. Now bear in mind this is about the bounciest truck you could ever imagine, and it's a very rocky, lumpy path, and to be honest I never expected the camera to be able to cope with this, but as you can see, yeah, it does a pretty amazing job. So I'll try all the different levels of Hypersmooth, and as you see, Hypersmooth high seems also really good. Okay, with the lowest setting of Hypersmooth on, still perfectly watchable, but gives more of a sense of the bumps when it does go over the bumps. So it's quite a good setting to use really, because you get a sense of the action that's going on. Ooh, tumble wumble. Now with the Hypersmooth off, you get a chance to see what a good job the camera had done on the previous shots of keeping it smooth. I mean, look at it, it's all over the place. You couldn't really watch this, could you? Thought I'd do a 4-way split so you can see all the different modes at the same time. Looking at it, I guess the only thing about Hypersmooth off is if you want the car to be the focus more than the background, but really it's not very watchable, is it? But I think all the other ones have got their merits. Now I did this shot with a camera on an arm pointing down at the car, and I wondered if Hypersmooth was clever enough to realise that if it was impossible to smooth out the background because it was all over the place, that it might try and smooth out what was in the middle, but turns out no, not really. It's just for smoothing out the background. Okay, so just some more onboard test shots I was doing in the woods here. So just look at my skillful driving as I weave through the trees. What could possibly go wrong? Ah, I could hit the tree, damn it. Hopefully I've given you a bit of an idea of what's good and bad on the Hero 8 with the stabilisation. I'll just leave you with a few more test shots. Thanks ever so much for watching. I'll see you next time.